Hey everyone, in this video we will learn how we can use proxy to manage states in React. The goal of this video is to basically use proxy state in place of use state hook. Before we start implementing the proxy state hook, we'll just get to know what proxy is. So proxy is basically an object which is used in place of the original object. So if you go by the definition of here, the proxy allows you to create an object that can be used in place of the original object, right? And it takes two arguments. First is target. So in this case, target is state, and second is handler. Handler basically has methods that are used to intercept the whenever we are trying to perform any operation on object. For example, whenever we are trying to change the value of some property in state, and whenever we are trying to read a property from a state. Also, you may notice here that the state is it extends objects. So basically, the proxies works only on objects, not on primitive data types. So there are two methods. There are many other methods also in the proxy handler, but we will focus on only two methods here, get and set. So when we are changing something, for example, if a state has two properties, let's say first name and last name, and we are changing the first name. So whenever we are trying to set the first name, this setter will get called. And whenever we are trying to get the property of from an object, then this getter will get called. And if you notice here, we are using Reflect API. So Reflect is basically an API in JavaScript that is used to perform operation on objects. It takes three arguments, target, prop, which property we are trying to get, and then the receiver. And receiver is basically, if you see the definition again here, it here, the reference to use as the this. So in this case, the reference will be proxy because this is what we are using to get or for getter or setter. Right. Now let's see the use proxy state in action. So I have made a small component. So there is a button on click of which I change the first name and last name. Now, if I refresh this page, you will see this reading prop first name, reading prop last name. This is coming from here. So we are trying to read those values, right? So if I, for example, duplicate this, so you will see the logs four times, right? Now let's try to click on this button and you will see two logs here for setting first name and last name, but the component won't re-render and we'll get to that why, right? So every time we click on this, it renders twice. Now the reason this is not re-rendering is because the reason is really simple because we as already know to make component re-render we have to call set state and this set state is not getting called anywhere. So what we'll do here is we'll call the set state with updated object which is target because we are setting the values with the setting the property of a target with new value. So we have a new object here. So now if we try to click on this button, right, now you'll see the logs coming four times because first two are to set the values and next two are to read the values when the component re-renders. Also note that I have disabled strict mode here. So if I enable it again on page refresh, you will see the logs four times because by default in React 18 or 17, I guess the component renders twice, mounts twice. So that's it. Basically, there are some use cases. To be honest, I have not seen anyone using this way to manage state in React. I found this way interesting, so I thought let's explore this and share it with you. But if I think about it, there are use cases to this. For example, um, if you want to log each operation whenever you're reading the properties or changing the properties, what values it changed to basically debug something. That's one use case. The other use case I think is validation. For example, let's say you had a age property which cannot be less than say 18. So when we try to set something using like this way, so whenever if we are trying to change, let's say this was age, whenever we are trying to set age to 20, what we can do is we can read which property we are changing. So in case of that example I'm giving, it would be age. So we can also read what values we are changing it to. So if it is greater than 18, we can say it's not valid age. The other use case is basically, let's say on change of some particular property you want to call particular APIs. For example, when first name changes, you want to call some certain API. When last name changes, you want to call some other API. So that could also be one of the use case, I think.